Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Austin here with a TvZ cast between jookTo, the red Zerg at the top left of Antigua Shipyard, and Liquid Sea, the red Terran at the bottom right. We saw a game from Sea against top Korean Protoss MC. Sea himself recently joined Team Liquid from Kespa Team 8, a Brood War team founded by the Korean Esports Association a few years ago when they did not have enough teams to host their Pro League, which is their version of pretty much the GSTL. It's the team league of Kespa. So now, of course, Kespa has moved on entirely to StarCraft 2. Sea decided to transfer to Liquid, a rather dominant foreign team, and he released a number of his replays in the Razor Replay Pack of the Week number 47. This was one of the recommended ones as per the word of jookTo Gamers, and I felt like bringing you guys a cast of TvZ. It's been a little while. And jookTo, our other player, formerly on OGS, for a brief 19 days he was on Apex. When I was casting a game of Top, I spoke of Apex as if it was a great idea, and it was indeed a great idea, but was not executed too well. All of the Apex players' attendance at a DreamHack was cancelled. They subsequently left. That included Inca, jookTo, Vines, and I forget the fourth player. Top indeed. How could I forget the one other Apex player I casted? The only member of that team that's still remaining on their roster is Moro, and he's only doing so just to hopefully collect his salary while these players have moved on. I do believe jookTo is now on Clarity Gaming, which is another North American team seemingly more reputable than Apex was. jookTo going for a regularly timed 15 hatch. We'll have to see if he goes for a 14 pool. That might not have even been a 15 hatch, as he had 15 population, but generally you would build the hatch at 15 population and then the pool at 14 because you lose the drone. So don't take my word on that one exactly. We do know that Liquid Sea is going for a fast expand, so there shouldn't be too much of an early ending to this game, jookTo getting a regularly timed spawning pool, unless of course Sea is able to get off some nice Hellion damage. In the last game he played against MC, he was able to dominate with 1-1-1 Hellion Banshee, which is generally a TvZ strategy. He punished the Protoss player heavily and was able to force a GG off harassment alone. Didn't need to make this huge push out. He was just very aggressive with his Hellions, and then finally when he moved his Banshees in, MC gave up all hope of victory. And Sea on my channel so far is 1-0. I have seen him play a reasonable number of times. He played up against Hyun in IPL Fight Club a few weeks ago. He lost that 5-1, but that's just simply because Hyun is a monster in Fight Club, which is a best of 9 weekly show match, King of the Hill style, held by the IGN Pro League. And will jookTo lose this drone? He shall not. It will escape with his life, but nonetheless, Hyun defeated the reigning GSL champion Life last week, 5-4. By last week, I mean the Monday prior to this cast, like 8 days prior to this. I'm casting this on a Tuesday evening. You'll probably see this on the Wednesday. So just don't think about the Monday 2 days ago. The Monday 9 days ago to you guys. Hyun was able to defeat the reigning GSL champion. That speaks volumes of how good he is in best of 9 and show matches. But I have to say, having watched his match against Sea put up a good fight. He showed some strong ability, considering he hasn't played this game for very long, especially in comparison to jookTo, who's been at a high level in StarCraft for at least a year and a half or so, as he was on OGS, who was formed. OGS was definitely one of the earlier teams to be founded in StarCraft 2, and I'm not sure exactly when jookTo joined, but I do know he was prominent in the early 2011, and I might have even been big in the 2010 GSO Open seasons, which started immediately after StarCraft 2's release, almost immediately, give or take a few weeks. Grace, jookTo is getting his third base. No tech path too definitive just yet. He's building a lot of queens. He has 4 total, 2 just now finishing. So you'll have plenty of injects and a reasonable amount of creep spread. He'll be able to transfer one of these queens over to his third if he so desires, or possibly just keep a 4-queen rotation and build a 5th queen for his third base. We'll have to see what he decides to do. Smartly placing a Spinecrawler at the wallish at his natural. I say wallish, this is rather open for Hellions to run by the geysers over here. But that is a nice predictive move. It seems to me as though Sea just did finish his factory. He loves his 1-1-1. He's got a reactor on there and is now building 2 Hellions at a time, going for the Tech Lab on the barracks and the starport. So he will be switching those 2 up if I have any sense of strategic prediction skills in me. jookTo building 5 drones at a time, quite impressive. We do see one SCV running in. That must have been a very painful death. You're running in, you see these grotesque creep. Well, you don't see the grotesque creep tumors because they're burrowed, but you're immediately shot by 2 queens. So you probably have all these little needle spine, acid spines, even better, acid spines stuck in your torso, and then your final killing blow is from the impaler tentacles of the spine crow. How lovely does that sound? If you're just an innocent SCV, we'll have to see if these Hellions over here fall victim to the same fate. Perhaps they will not. Perhaps drones instead will die to their infernal flamethrower. Sounds why are all these weapon names so brutal? We'll have to check what the Banshees is. I'm sure it's something like, not Punisher missiles. I don't remember exactly, but it is a rather badass weapon name. jookTo now getting his way. He just smartly canceled those creep dreamers, but he's forcing these Hellions back very nicely. We'll have to see if the Banshees are equally repelled. Tech is just on the verge of finishing, so jookTo should be able to get an Overseer out in time to deal with this impending Banshee assault. It always comes down to, unless a Zerg decides to invest in Hydras or an excessive number of Spore Crawlers, it is generally dependent on their queen control, whether or not they repel a Banshee harass. Well, we'll have to see how jookTo is able to do. I am lazily not touching my mouse, just following this Banshee. It may be able to kill one queen. It does not. Very nice transfuse there from jookTo. I was ready to say, yeah, it's going in for sure. It went off screen a little bit there, but now C able to get it. He's moving over into the middle of the line. jookTo needs to respond to this. He's moving up with 2 queens. This Overseer can't morph fast enough. Now jookTo going to be able to counter this. He is building a Spore Crawler faster than C will be able to repel it, but I would definitely say that engagement went in the favor of Liquid Sea. 4 workers killed in addition to that queen, which is always a pain for a Zerg player. jookTo making 11 drones at a time, so it's not like it'll matter too much. He's got 53 total, and that jumps to 63 in a matter of seconds. He's getting his Spire. He has double Evo chambers, producing melee and Carapace. I need to catch my breath for a minute there. I am rather excited by this fantastic game. C landing his 3rd over at this rather difficult to defend location. These rocks hold off against any pushes in the early game, but if you're transitioning into the late game phase when your opponent is just, as a Zerg player, trying to run over your 3rd base, they can easily demolish these rocks, come in from 2 angles with their wings or massive Mutaforce, and just really split up the Terran's army. Now, jookTo seems to be doing just that. He will be able to see the 3rd. Can he get a good surround on these Hellions? What is C doing? Not controlling them in time. A lot of them getting surrounded there. C pulling some SCVs over. He meant to transfer them to the 3rd, but they instead fell victim to the... Let's just see what the Zergling's weapon name is. Just simply Claws, so not so disgusting, but still ends in death for SCVs. They always seem to die, no matter the means by which they do so. These 2 wings dying off here. Let's see how jookTo was able to do. 8 workers killed, so he completely rectified the kills that C was able to inflict on him with the Banshee. Now jookTo is getting his 2-2. He's got Mutas producing. I would say he's going for Mutaling Baneling, but no signs of a Baneling nest, and he would have produced it a long time ago by now had he been looking for that Oh, he is making it! Look at that! I should stick with my gut feeling. He's building a Baneling nest. Mutaling Baneling, very, very effective against Terran players. I was going to say Ling Infestor Ultra, but then he had invested. There's a pun. He had invested. Hey, he had invested in Mutas already, so I figured the only real plausible strategy is Mutaling Baneling. Now that nest is on the way. jookTo does lose 1 unnecessary Mutalisk there. Nothing more to my knowledge. We'll have to look at our resources lost tab. Actually favoring the Terran player. jookTo has lost more. Now, C, does he know that these Lings are outside of his base? He generally does know that there is an impending Ling threat. Centrifugal hooks for Banelings is now on the way. Very nice siege tank positioning over here from C. He'll be able to kill a lot of those Lings. The Banshee's doing a good job at picking off the residual Lings, but this little hit squad of 5 Marines going to be able to repel the remaining Mutalisks. So jookTo is held off for now. Well, he is held off, I said, not he was held off. Well, he was held off, and he is being held off. The only misinterpretation I was avoiding was he is holding off. I'm sure you guys understand my verb terminology, but I'm a grammatical freak. You may have learned by now. I have a very advanced vocabulary, and I'm always trying to look for a nice new word to use. So, whenever I erroneously structure a phrase, I'm always very nitpicky when it comes to correcting it. Though I'm not nitpicky when it comes to jookTo making a total of 14 banelings there. I had to think for a minute. Didn't look at my production tab. I was just staring intensely at these banelings. He'll likely wait for centrifugal hooks to finish. One Hellion now running into the fourth. I do not believe it inflicted too much damage. No, jookTo still favored in the workers killed count. He does have 12. He's going to get his 2-2 and centrifugal hooks all at once. Very nice timing. Building 4 overlords. He is briefly supply blocked. C not hurt so much. Very nice missile turret placement here from C. There is no way that these Mutalisks are going to be able to get in without immediately falling victim to C's army. Again, he just brings over a small hit squad of Marines. Very high muta count here from jookTo. He doesn't lose any. 3 of them in the red. Nice micro from him, keeping them all alive. Going to let them regen for now. Well, he masses up on banelings. How many does he have total? 14 still. It looked like he had added on more. He's getting the infestation pit, so he'll be able to transition immediately into hive. I don't see him going into infestors unless he wants to make it Ling Infestor Ultra transition, which it is said that Ultra is the unit that you build if you want to lose a game. So I definitely see jookTo just going straight to Hive Tech and getting some Broodlord Corruptor compositions producing in his near future. There is a Thor on the way from Liquid Sea. Nice reactionary play to the Mutas, but could have gotten it way earlier than he had. Intelligent use of a sensor tower here gives him a lot of vision. He's able to see when the Mutas are flying about. Close to his third location. He has perfect vision. I find sensor towers to be very underused. They're inexpensive, extremely effective means of granting vision without having a Zelnaga tower. You don't know exactly which units are on the way, but if you're against a Zerg player like jookTo, who's just going to have such a large army, you need to know exactly what's coming at you. Now, jookTo is morphing in some banelings. He's going to be forced to sacrifice some lings and banelings, but very good detonations there from jookTo. One of those 3 banelings does die, but jookTo made the best of a bad situation. He was forced to sacrifice some of his army, but did so effectively, treating reasonably well with some Marines. His Mutas are tearing apart this main base here. Did they get a lot of workers killed? They did indeed. 29 total. C is just getting torn apart from multiple directions, not able to react quick enough to this, and now here is jookTo coming in from the front. The siege tanks are vulnerable. Why did he pull out there? I suppose he did not have the sheer volume of lings, but now he does have the sheer volume of lings. C's tanks target firing down the banelings, but will it be enough? It looks as though his mech army will be overrun, but at what cost? jookTo doesn't have anything left over. His ling's able to ravage the Thor and tank, though the Mutas are still alive. They could be the difference-making factor here. jookTo has such a huge bank. I'm surprised it's not. There we go, 26 lings. He can produce so much more. I suppose he just does not have the larva for it. Here is this 4th base of jookTo. Was under siege by these Banshees. I did not point that out because I was so focused on the epic engagements of jookTo and C's base, but will jookTo be able to hold this counterattack? 29 workers to 20 killed there, so C was able to gain back some workers killed. jookTo morphing in 31 total banelings. He's got his 3-3 producing, and now 2 weapons for those Mutas. Here are a ton of banelings coming in, connecting on all the Marines. It seems as though jookTo might just be able to hold this off. He has a lot of banelings left, and the C's Marine count definitely diminishing. The siege tanks not able to siege up at optimal timing there. There's a great number of jookTo's banelings detonating. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm ready to call it in his favor. Beautiful defensive play there as the medevacs die and their remnants crash to the ground. I feel as though the Zerg army is triumphant. jookTo has such an impressive bank. He's able to hold that 4th base strong. It is bleeding, but still surviving. It's not over yet, however, as C is moving in with clumps of Marines and medevacs. The Mutas and Lings going to be able to clean this one squad up. Why has C split up his forces? Not a smart idea at all. Here's one of the medevacs dying with several Marines still in it. jookTo just going to pull back for a minute here, but it seems as though he is intent on losing this game. He's building an Ultra Cavern, but he does get a Baneling detonation off. Still has a lot of Lings left. There's C calling the GG. Very well played there by jookTo. He moved in from multiple angles, just forced C to... C had a rather immobile army with mostly Marines. He'd be forced to stim up. The Mutalisks taking great advantage of Antigua Shipyard's positioning between the 4th base location and the main. He was just able to fly in, DPS down one of the turrets, and just ravage this mineral line here. C, very good job counterattacking the third base here, the fourth base, sorry. But jookTo dealt with it very well with his extremely mobile mutas. He had a great bank. Sea always seemed deprived of minerals. He was forced to play a highly defensive style with missile turrets here. He had a sensor tower here and had a lot of siege tanks sieged up. jookTo played a very nice ruse on his opponent with the mutas in the main, all of his mutas, which pulled Sea's marines away and allowed him to attack full frontal assault with his lings and banelings. I hope you enjoyed this cast. I sure did. May have sounded like I did. See you next time.